can be done alone. Ask questions, ask ourselves, ask yourself, ask others, ask for help. I consider self-awareness very important because I believe it is the foundation of personal growth and success. What is self-awareness? If I ask you, how many of us have asked ourselves the question, who am I? How many of us have asked ourselves, what do I want? These are ancient questions, but contemporary ones as well.
Take a brave look at your life. Look at your life right now where it is. As you begin to look out on the future, look out on this year, let's take personal inventory. What has brought you here? Did you get out of it what you wanted? Did you achieve the goals that you set out to achieve? Now you've got to make a decision. See, many of us won't be able to move forward because we're not taking true inventory of our lives. As you begin to look at your emotional, your spiritual, and intellectual development, how many books did you read? How many seminars did you attend? How many classes did you take to begin to develop yourself professionally, to improve your craft or your skill?
Becoming self-aware is about the process of understanding ourselves. For me, knowing ourselves means being able to assess realistically several dimensions of ourselves. It is about knowing what are our strengths, the things that we can do well, knowing our weaknesses, our present limitations. It is about knowing what we want, and furthermore, it is about knowing what we don't want as well.
Let's go. Let's go. Good morning, family. Rise and shine. Another blessed and grateful morning. They didn't want me to go ahead and get this message out. YouTube was constricting this, but we are out. This message is not getting stopped today. You cannot stop what cannot be stopped. So this one is coming out. So family, ready for another day of more blessings, more abundance, and more joy to flow into our lives. I've got a great topic for today. Today, we're going to be talking about the top 10 tips on how to go ahead and get back our self-awareness to really critical think. And I'm telling you, this is straight out of the book, Emotional Intelligence 2.0, one of the greatest sought after books when it comes to the mindset. So this is a huge training that I honestly learned a couple years back, and I'm excited to go ahead and pour back into, because I know self-awareness is one of the biggest pieces when it comes to getting into state, manifesting what it is that we want. So let's go ahead and get into today. But before we dive in, what is everybody grateful for on this beautiful day? Grateful to be alive, grateful for the weather, grateful for this phenomenal morning routine this morning, grateful for God, grateful for the mind, for the body, for the spirit, for all that is flowing into our lives right now. November is a month to remember. So ready for everything to keep on flowing, right? Momentum. We had honestly a call last night that really gave me an aha moment, right? From Brandon Thompson, Chairman 250. He was talking about the word momentum, right? And if you look at the first word of momentum, what is it? It's moment. So essentially, he was talking about literally in a moment, we can make a decision to go ahead and create momentum. So that was absolutely huge to go ahead and really understand that. So let's go ahead and get into today. Drop down your gratitude and let's start flowing into the 10 tips on how to go ahead and get back our self-awareness. So y'all ready? Let's go ahead and break it down. All right, family, here we go. Number one, first tip for self-awareness is going to be quit treating your feelings as good or bad. Okay, and honestly, this is something that I learned pretty recently. There's no such thing as good. There's no such thing as bad. In fact, nothing is either good or bad. It is what we make it. It is how we actually perceive it. So if you go out and you get a flat tire today, if somebody comes out and they give you a negative comment on social media, right? If you go out and you lose a trade, well, here's the deal. You could ask two different people the same question on how they feel experiencing the same three scenarios: getting a pop tire, having someone drop a negative comment, and losing a trade. The person that popped their tire, the first person, they're negative, they're pissed off the whole day. Okay. They had somebody comment on their social media. Now they don't even want to get out there and posting because they're worried about what the next person is going to comment. And then the third person, they lost a trade. Now they don't know if trading is going to even be able to work for them, and they stop studying, they stop taking the action. But then you have the second person, right, who's able to perceive in a whole different light. They popped a tire, but they say, you know what? Thank God, because this could have stopped me from allowing a worse situation to go ahead and happen. I could have gotten a crash. So that's number one. The second part, they had somebody comment on their social media. Well, they realized if I have haters coming out, if I have people that are talking negatively about what it is that I'm doing, guess what? That actually means I'm probably doing something right. You see, haters, dogs don't bark at parked cars. Okay? Dogs don't bark at parked cars. So if you're moving, guess what? People are going to bark about what it is that you're doing. So if you have people coming out of the cracks, that's a good thing. It means you're sticking out. Okay? When I started bringing in haters, when I started bringing in people that were questioning about if I was doing what's real, why am I wasting so much time? That means that you have more eyeballs on your radar. And this is what it's about. I don't know if you knew how Donald Trump became president. He had half of the world actually not even like who he is. But you know what happened? They talked about him. They got his name public, and it brought him to actually becoming president. And the last but not least, the third person that loses a trade that understands in a different light, they say, you know what? If I lost this trade, I can either go on to the next, or I can see what happened. I can actually learn a lesson. Every single loss, there's a lesson if you're able to go ahead and see what's underneath it, to be able to take the silver lining out of it. Okay, so this is big. So nothing is either good or bad. It is how we perceive it. And I had to get to this point in life where I realized you never want to get too low for the lows, and you never want to get too high for the highs. Because what happens? If you get too low for the lows, we're going to go in a shell. We stay there for a long time, and nothing ever gets done. But you see, it happens on the other side. If you get too high for the highs and you start achieving massive success, you're able to achieve a lot. Then when God strips it from you, maybe because you weren't humble, maybe because there was too much of an ego, then the crash happens just as hard, if not harder, than the come up, and it happens twice as fast. That's why they say you can lose it way faster than you build it. So I had to learn not to get too low for the lows and never get too high for the highs. Okay, so don't quit treating your feelings as good or bad. This is self-awareness tip number one. Number dos, let's keep it moving. The second one is going to be observe the ripple effect from our emotions. Okay, observe the ripple effect from our emotions. If we were to take a step back and consider for a moment what happens when you drop a stone into the water. If it's clear, if it's glass out on the lake in the ocean, we drop a stone in it, what happens? This leaves literally a ripple effect, and the same thing happens with our emotions. Okay, our emotions are like stones that send ripple effects literally throughout our whole mind. So if we're throwing stones of envy, of jealousy, of anger, right? Guess what? The ripple effect is going to be 10 times bigger. This is why in the morning, one of the best things that any of us can do is start really getting deep into the gratitude. Because guess what? Everything we do is a stone. Everything. What we eat in the morning, right? Every activity that we're going to do today, it's all a stone. They're all different stones. And guess what? Each one of them leaves a ripple effect. Each one of them has a cause. Each one of them has an effect. So when you can start to understand that everything that we're doing, everything that we're thinking, everything that we're feeling, it has a ripple effect. So in the morning, if we can really get intentional on being able to feel, right? Kevin Trudeau talks about it as if we can feel it, as if the wish is already fulfilled. This is huge, okay? So start observing how our emotions play a ripple effect, and be very. I want you to be very detailed on how it is that you analyze our emotions, because notice when we're happy, when we're sad, when we're angry, we have very similar patterns that happen. And if we can track what we're doing when we're hot, what we're doing when we're angry, what we're doing when things end up really getting us upset, now you can know where they come from. And when you know where it comes from, you know where the root is, we're going to be able to handle it. And I'm going to get farther into this as we go through these 10 tips, but this is how I'm kind of starting it off so you can get the idea. So let's go ahead and get into number 3. Tip number 3 is going to be lean into discomfort. Brandon Thompson talked about it last night on the call. We hear it all the time. how do all of us view the word comfortability and uncomfortable right now? Right? Over the years, here's how I've learned to understand it. You see, as far as comfortability goes, a lot of us, myself included, this happens to many of us, we end up getting comfortable being uncomfortable. We end up getting comfortable being uncomfortable, right? Not wanting to put a lot of things out there. We're stuck looking at what everybody else is doing, but we're too afraid to start putting ourselves on the front page of the newspaper. So this is huge, right? I know what this feels like. I know many are experiencing this. So the easiest way that we can go ahead and really start avoiding this feeling, or not, rather than avoiding the feeling, the goal should be to move toward the emotion and into it and eventually through it. So if you feel nervous making a video, if you feel nervous going out and do any of these income producing activities today, understand that as we lean into it, as we push towards it, that's where the growth begins. It's the same thing like a gym, right? If I'm going to the gym right after this call. I didn't get a chance to get in this morning, but guess what I'm doing after this call? I'm going to be running into discomfort. I'm running into the pain. I'm running into the breakdown, because what happens with the breakdown? It takes breaking down in order to go ahead and rebuild. That's why even the analogy last night with the gym was huge, being able to really understand that, because the same thing happens with life. Family, I was not good at speaking before. I was not good at trading. My social media had, 700 followers. I didn't have too many on there looking at what it is that I'm doing and making videos and making stories. All of these things was uncomfortable for me. It caused a lot of discomfort doing it. But guess what? The more I leaned into it, the better it is that I got. I went from being afraid to share my story as a testimonial, right? Being able to open up the room, to now you can't get me out of the front room, right? I can't wait to get up and speak and impact. You know what I realized? The same thing happens with so many of us. At the beginning, it seems nervous. It seems like there's a lot going on, but the more that we do it, it gets exciting, because it's not as foggy as it once was. You now have confidence. You now have belief. You now have experience into the game. That's why they say, when you look at the acronym TIME, what does TIME stand for? Things I must experience. So understand that discomfort, leaning into it, this is where the magic happens. Nothing gets easier. I say it all the time. What happens, family? Nothing gets easier. We just get better. Okay? So this is big. So important to understand. Number 4, let's keep it moving. The 4th tip is going to be feel your emotions. All right, now this is going to be a little bit weird, right? Feel your emotions physically. So I don't know if you guys know this or not, but what I'm going to give you a fact of the day. Okay, whenever we experience an emotion, any of the spectrum of all the emotions that we can feel, you know what happens? Essentially, what's happening is there's an electrical signal, okay, that's literally going through our brain, and it's triggering physical sensations in our body. This is called neuroencoding. That's why some of you, a lot of times, drop a 3 down below. If you get headaches often, if you get certain discomforts in your body, in your chest, in your lower back, in your shoulders, guess what? A lot of this comes down from, believe it or not, yes, it's actually neuroencoding. The thoughts that we think cause emotions. The emotions that we're experiencing end up causing feelings in the body. So I'll give you an example. If you feel like you have discomfort in your chest sometimes, I feel like it gets hard to breathe sometimes, you get a little short of breath, a lot of the times, guess what that happens to be? Grief, right? Inside of the lungs, when we feel pain inside of the lungs, a lot of the times it comes down to feeling grief. So if we can take a step back and ask ourselves, what is it that I'm feeling right now, and why am I feeling this way? For some of us, we might feel tense all day. We might just feel like we're squeezing something, like our body is so stiff. But why is that? A lot of the times, something that we're thinking is causing a trigger in our body to stiffen up, right? We all know what this feels like. And guess what happens? When we can learn to find out what it is and let it go, I want you guys all to do this right now. Drop your shoulders right now. Do it with me. Drop your shoulders. Take a deep breath. Inhale, courage, faith, healing. Breathe out doubt, fear, negativity. Just feel that. Let that seep out. Okay? Our emotions are very powerful. And the words that we're speaking in our head are going to trigger physical feelings inside of our body. That's why when you're happy, when you're excited, guess what? You feel like your body's vibrating. You feel like it's tingling, right? If you're feeling good right now, you probably feel a little heat between your fingertips, a little tingling sensation. This is all neuroencoding. And to better understand these effects, it takes being able to understand our emotions. And I'm going to show you how to get a little bit deeper in these next 6 steps. You ready? Number 5. I told you I'm going to help you get a little bit deeper, right? So let's go ahead and get into it. The 5th tip is going to be know who and what pushes your buttons. I'm going to say it again. It takes time to really ask ourselves who and what pushes our buttons. So let me ask you right now, this past week, forget about the month, forget about the past 6 months. What is it this past week that's pushed your buttons a little bit, that's gotten you a little bit tense? What pet peeves have you experienced in the last week that's got you a little bit agitated? Because here's what I know. You know what the truth is? Everybody has these. Everybody has pet peeves. Everybody has little triggers that end up making us push buttons. But here's what I want you to know, okay? When you're able to flip the switch and identify what it is that's triggering you, you're going to be able to take the time, take a second to ask yourself, okay, I'll give you a perfect example. If you feel like somebody in your life is annoying you, okay, I'll give you a perfect example. If you feel like somebody in your life is annoying you, you feel like they're constantly just nagging, you feel like they're constantly just a weight on your back, let me ask you this question right now. How would you feel if their feet didn't touch the ground tomorrow? Now we put it in a completely different light. You're not as angry as you were. Now you feel a little bit more love. Now you feel a little bit more empathy for this person because you realize that argument, that thing that you might be thinking about so long, if they were to pass tomorrow, you'd feel a lot of serious emotions. So whether it be somebody that doesn't believe in you, somebody that's angry at you, I want you to understand this. When we can let go of whatever is pushing these buttons, this is probably some of the biggest weight you'll ever be able to let off your shoulders. And this was me. Right? I deal with alcoholics in my family. I deal with people that use drugs in my family. I deal with people that are struggling in life. And there were so many times where they would reach out to me for help and different things and complain. And I would let it really agitate me. But you know what I realized? I get the opportunity to help. I get the opportunity to be the light, to be the one with a clear mind, to actually share the possibilities of life and show them that there's a lot more to just paying bills and being depressed, miserable, and anxious all day long. Okay? So that's a privilege. We get to be able to do this. We get to be able to be those of service. Okay. So know who pushes your buttons and look at it in a different light. Okay. Number 6, watch yourself like a hawk. I love this one. Okay. Think about it like this. Let's just go ahead and picture a hawk in the sky. Hawks, what is one of the most distinctive factors about a hawk? Okay. They have distinctive advantage, okay, above everybody else because of their narrow tunnel vision. So even though we're not a hawk, we still have the ability to be able to develop an understanding of our own behaviors, our emotions, our thoughts, and the situations that end up getting us to a point where we feel like we are not happy, like we feel like we're anxious, like we feel like we're back in shame, like going back to our old story. We all know what that's like. Okay, so all 10 of these tips are very important if you really want to go ahead and raise our levels of self-awareness. Okay, so watching yourself like a hawk. During yesterday, what things got you agitated? What situations allowed you to go ahead and drop your self-will to go ahead and eat that negative, to go and eat some junk food, or to do something that you know you shouldn't be doing, but we went ahead and we did it anyways? This comes down to being able to be intentional with how we're spending our days, not only to be intentional with it, but to be able to track it. This is why we do evaluations every single week, so we can go ahead and track what is that we did well, what can we do better, and what talent, skill, resource do we need to go ahead and add this week to go ahead and move the needle forward. This is why most people end up staying stuck, because they don't evaluate themselves. The week goes by, they didn't track what they ate, they didn't track their business, they didn't track their daily activities, and most people end up being busy. Very few are actually productive. So I'll give you guys an example. If you guys really want to go ahead and track your business, go ahead and really track your life, it's called a T chart. So everybody can go ahead and do this. You get a piece of paper, you draw a T, and you have two sides. You have active and you have productive. You see, active parts of this business are all necessary, needed things, but they don't necessarily produce us income. So what does that mean? Being able to get on mornings with Neno, our morning routines, journaling, write gratitude. I'm on day 102, I believe, as far as the challenge goes. But this is active things, right? Going out and hitting the gym, getting on the chairman mentorship calls, getting on these sessions with Go Live. Go Live is actually productive, but actually being able to study, all these different things. This is active. So they're needed, but they don't produce income. Now, the difference with productive, all of these activities, they produce income. Getting on a trading session, getting on a go live, confirming and inviting for an event, flowing on social media, creating new relationships, right? Putting out a post, putting out a reel. All of these different things are income producing activities. So for a long time, I was wondering why I wasn't seeing success, why so many were feeling stuck. Here's the difference. Many are active, very few are productive. So every day, this is what we're doing every day for the leaders. Those of you that really want to take your business and yourself seriously, a T-chart to be able to write what it is that we did on the active side and what it is that we did productive. And guess what? Some days you might be more active than productive. I'm not worried about that. That's okay. I'm just worried about the progress. I'm worried about just growing a little bit every single day. And I'm telling you, if you can do that, watch what happens when we look up in 3 months to 6 months, a year, 18 months from now, because we are in such a great position to go ahead and really make this thing happen. So let's go ahead and keep it going. You ready? 3 more for you. 3 more. Number 7. 7 is going to be keeping a journal. Keeping a journal about our emotions. For those that have been on the challenge, let me know what day of the challenge that you guys are on. How many days have you guys been consistent? Because you know what the truth is? The biggest challenge to developing self-awareness is literally objectivity. It's hard to develop perspective on our emotions and tendencies when every day feels like a new mountain to climb. But with the journal, we can record what events are triggering strong emotions and how we've been able to respond by them. I'll tell you what, one of the coolest things in my journal is being able to go back and analyze how I thought. Analyze how I handled different situations. Because you know what the truth is? The things that used to light me up, the things that used to get me so upset, look at that, day 92, let's go. The things that used to get me so fired up, I don't even sneeze at those anymore. I literally step right over those because I've literally developed a new level of awareness for emotional intelligence. And I bet a lot of you are the same way. Some of the things that used to get you really frustrated, now you don't even look twice at it because you understand if it's not going to matter in 5 months, why should we spend more than 5 minutes thinking about it? This is the truth. If it's not going to matter in 5 months, why should we spend more than 5 minutes thinking about it? Okay, so journaling honestly changed my life. And I'm telling you, when you're able to keep a documented record of everything that you guys have written down, things get very powerful because you're able to not only just use this for yourself, you're able to use this to go ahead and teach others as well. So I'll give you guys an example, right? Inside of your journal, there's going to be times where you're able to actually go in there and go look at and read the date and the time, and you're actually going to be able to see exactly where you were sitting in that spot, feel that emotion. And I'm telling you, I've been able to do this over the years, and I'm so thankful that I did. I'll give you a perfect example, okay? I've been writing this for so long, right? Look at this. September 23rd, 2019, chairman season. Look at this. Chino is finally 2 digits away from hitting chairman 10, okay? I've documented all of this journey. Look at this. Way back August 30th, 2019. I've been writing this for a long time. I'm so blessed and grateful to have impacted 1 billion. Boom, signed, signature, date, written. All of this has been documented. I can now go back and look at it and see exactly what my growth has been, what my mindset was, right? All the amazing trainings that we've been able to have. And look at this. On 9/30, right? So check this out. 9/23, Chino was literally within 10 digits away from chairman. 2 days later, boom, Chino smashes chairman 10. Legendary day. I can literally remember sitting inside of my garage celebrating with Chino, like, yo, I'm about to drop the next impacted individual into the organization and watch his back office update. And literally, that's a day I'll never forget. Think about it. A 6-figure income coming from a place where we started inside of a garage. We had nothing but dollar and a dream. I was broke living out of my car, going inside of his garage to go and do these trainings till 3 o'clock in the morning as his mother would come in and scream in Vietnamese, like, what are you guys doing? Why are you wasting so much time? It's safe to say that it's been worth it, right? It pays off. So many 7-figure leadership trainings over the years, right? So your journal allows you so many emotions and frequencies that you're able to go ahead and build off that you can now take with you for the rest of your life. Look at this, right? Another confirmation. On 3/16/20, I took a leap of faith to go fly out to Charlotte. I had 3 people in the organization. I took a leap out of faith out there and went out, and it actually worked. Then it was talking about calculated leaps of faith. Well, now, funny enough, we're actually about to go take a flight to Charlotte probably next month, but I can go back and see the journal. I can go back and see the journey through the journal, and you're going to be able to see yours as well. So family, do not take your journal lightly, because I promise you, you're going to be able to go back and be so thankful that you did this. Guess what? This isn't just for you. Your kids are going to be able to read this as well. You don't think your kids are going to be your age at one point in time, and they're not going to want to know how you got through all your trials and tribulations, how you handled your emotions? This is not just for me. This is for the future. So the same thing goes for you. Do something that is worth more than just yourself, and I promise you, you will go a lot farther than you ever imagined, and you will get through the storms when you don't even feel like doing it, because it's built for more than just us, okay? So this is how I've been able to get through the mindset all these years, because I know it's bigger than just me. So let's go ahead and keep it moving. I've got 2 more for you. We got 3 more actually, real quick. Number 8, don't be fooled by a bad mood, okay? Don't be fooled by a bad mood. We don't have bad moods anymore, okay? We don't have bad moments anymore. We have character building days. We talked about it earlier. Nothing is either good, nothing is either bad. Everything is how we perceive it. And when you feel this way, you're going to be able to literally change your mood, change your frequency, because you understand we can look at it in a different light. Number 9 is going to be, don't be fooled by a good mood either. You know why? Don't be fooled by a good mood either. Here's the scenario that it talked about inside of the book, right? Inside of Emotional Intelligence. It was talking about, consider this family scenario. Your favorite store is having a once a year sale with markdowns up to 75%. You rush into the store on sale day. You end up buying all sorts of these things that you've always wanted, but you really can't afford, right? At least not all at once. And here's what ends up happening. When you get your credit card bill at the end of the month, it's a whole nother story. So there's so many things, so many examples I could think about where this ends up playing out. So many people over the past couple of years, they saw a lot of success, right? They saw their back office going up. They saw a lot of growth. They saw a lot of momentum. But guess what happened? A year later, it all fizzled out. The ranks dropped. The income dropped. The impact dropped. You know why? What happened? Because they never brought their level of personal development to match their level of income. So yes, they felt good, in a good mood. They thought everything was working out well, but they didn't understand there was no real foundation built. So just because things are moving great, it doesn't mean that everything is wonderful. This is why I told you, don't get too low for the lows, never get too high for the highs, because always there's a humbling experience if you are not careful. How do I know? I've been there too many times, and I don't want you to go ahead and repeat the same mistake. And last but not least, let's go ahead and end this thing off with a bang. Number 10, stop and ask yourself why it is that we do the things that we do. Emotions come when they will. This is just the truth. Not when we will them to, they're just going to be able to happen. But with our self-awareness, as it grows, as we start getting the habit to be able to stop and ask ourselves, why are we feeling this emotion? Why are we experiencing it? Now you're able to really be able to identify the problem, find the solution, and realize that most of the time, what we were stressing about, we don't even need to be applying that much weight on it anyways, because it's not going to matter in 5 months. So we don't need to spend more than 5 minutes thinking about it. So family, these are all 10 tips that I've been able to use over the years on how to develop my self-awareness. And I'm telling you, without a shadow of a doubt, these are 10 tips that anybody can go and apply. And this is something you can use today. Not tomorrow, not have to wait a week, a month. This is something we can go ahead and apply into action today and literally see a change, because momentum happens what? In a moment of a decision. So we can all make the decision today to draw the line in the sand to say the old self that I'm used to thinking about, that I know, no longer exists. I'm ready to go ahead and step into my higher self. So family, if you got any value from today, go ahead and drop some likes down below, drop some 7s, and here's what I know for a fact. If nobody told you yet today, I believe in you. You are powerful. You are amazing. You are abundant. And I cannot wait to see all the abundance that is left to come into your life. So family, go out and have a great day. It is your favorite entrepreneur, Define Dreams. Remember, we can be, do, or have anything we can hold in our mind. We can hold it right here in our hand. Family, let's go out and have an abundant week. I love you. Let's get to it. I'll see you tomorrow on another episode of Rise and Shine with Define.
And the world is a new world and a full world.